Hi, everybody. Whitney here with a Divine Feminine solo episode. On today's episode, I want to explore the idea of the power of visualizations. So, I've worked with a few different types of coaches. I work with a soulmate coach. And one of the final assignments that she told me to take away for the remainder of my time seeking my soulmate was to begin visualizing them, visualizing how it felt to be close to them, visualizing what we would do together, visualizing them holding me, us sharing intimacy together, just bringing that image, that idea into my mind's eye, experiencing it basically at an energetic level, right? Creating it, getting into the vibe of what it feels like until it comes into form. There are a lot of different schools of thought around whether visualizations are helpful or not, whether they have any impact or not. And I just wanted to share my thoughts about it, how I've found it to be valuable, how I've used it, and what I believe it can help with. So the soulmate is one example, but if you think about visualization in general, they say that creation is threefold, that it starts with a thought, then you speak it, it becomes word, and then it becomes deed or action, right? So anything that you can see anywhere, right? I'm looking at this microphone. This microphone was once just an idea. It was once just visualized, right? You can't bring something to form without first having an idea of this is what it can look like. Anybody who's an artist or a creator, you could be an architect, you could be, a ceramics person, clay maker. You have to visualize it first, right? And then it comes into being. Well, everything is like that. It may not seem like that. We might be like, oh, this thing came out of nowhere. But subconsciously, it's thought that we were calling it in through the power of thought, through the power of visualization. Could have been done while you're sleeping. And then you're like, oh, look, it's the house of my dreams. There it is. What can help it happen faster if you intentionally visualize it, right? Okay, so how do you do that? So let's say that you want to move and you have an idea of what you want your house to look like. If you spend time in visualization, which can be done in any way that works for you, right? For a lot of people, it's in meditation, and you look and you see the way that the roof looks and the size and the various rooms, and you're creating it in your mind over and over. I'm sure you've heard stories of people who say they've done this down to the color of the walls and the doorknobs, and one day they look at their finished house and they say, oh my gosh, there it is. Or they pull up to this new for sale sign in front of a house and they say, that's the house. That's the house I've been visualizing. So why is this powerful? Aside from saying that we're manifesting it, it's the idea that you are setting your intention for what you want. You're making it very clear, right? So this can relate more to the idea of a soulmate. Let's say you're calling your person in. So this is where it becomes valuable. All those failed relationships have helped you to see what you do not want. So you can take a moment to remember that person, I never felt safe with them. I always felt like they might get angry, like they might suddenly, change their mind about how they felt about me, might be cold towards me, that they might not be available to, attend to me, to be connected with me. So I didn't feel safe, right? So we take that and we say, that's important to me to feel safe in someone's presence, to not feel anxious or, fearful. And it doesn't have to be necessarily like physically fearful, like they might hurt you, just kind of fearful of like, are you like going to still be nice? Are you going to be affectionate tonight? Like you don't know what to expect. So you take the things that you've learned from past relationships. I want to feel safe. I want to feel seen in someone's presence. I want to feel like they are not distracted, but they're really present with me. That when they're sitting there on the couch with me, they're not, only able to hold connection for a few seconds. They're able to show that they're there with you. They see you in that moment. They're with you in that moment. They're not somewhere else in their mind. They're not looking around at different things. They're there with you. So collecting from your data of life, you can establish what that would feel like, what you're looking for, that safety, that security. Maybe it's affection, presence of a person. And visualize it. Visualize sitting there with them, and then visualize and feel what it feels like in their presence. So, visualization bleeds into sort of energetic realization. Is that a thing? Imagining what the feel is, right? So that's powerful. It's very powerful because you are acquainting yourself with this. You can see it. You're saying, I don't want that. I want this. I'm not giving my energy to that. I'm giving my energy to this. I'm giving my energy to a loving, secure, safe, affectionate connection where we are present with one another, where I feel safe with another. So we begin to visualize. And they say that if you have a soulmate, that they are already with you in the ethereal realm, right? They're already with you in spirit. All you got to do is the work to bring them into physicality, right? So you can get wrapped up in those arms and get a big old hug from them. So there's soulmates, there's finding the things that you want, but there's also visualizing things that you want to do, let's say more business or work oriented. You can say, okay, one day I want to be a speaker on a big stage and I want to speak and inspire people. Picture yourself on that stage. Now, visualization can also be done in any form. You know how when you go running or work out and you're listening to music and you can get into this fantasy and you can see yourself doing things. I think the difference between a fantasy and a visualization, an intentional visualization, is that fantasy is you're just having fun. Maybe you're visualizing yourself as Madonna up on her, world tour, which is cool, but it's not your vision, right? You're trying to create your vision in your head of what you want to do, what matters most to you. You could want to be a singer up on the stage. See it. See yourself. What are you wearing? What are you doing? How are you moving yourself, right? How are you conducting yourself? All down to the finest detail. Just visualize and see it. Because the more that we give our focus to it, the more that we give our energy to it. So we can see exactly what we want to experience, what we'd like to have, what we'd like to create. Give it first the thought form, right? As I said, it goes thought, word, deed, action. Anything we've ever done, we first had a thought about, right? I have to go to the bathroom. And so we're thinking, it's almost automatic, but we think, okay, I got to walk down the stairs and then go down the hall. So we're thinking about going to the bathroom and then we do it, right? It's rarely that we do anything unconsciously. It can feel like it when it's just become rudimentary. So you're like, oh yeah, I'm just on autopilot. People say that sometimes. They're like, I'm so used to this. It's just autopilot, but you're still consciously thinking about it first. And I might as well go into the whole creation process is that, so the thing about word, we don't always have to speak it out loud. It's not like we're I'm going to the bathroom. We might just go. It's the idea of actually putting it out. First, it's in our head, and then we're actually offering it. I'm going to do this. We think, I need to go to the bathroom. I'm going to go to the bathroom, right? So it's shifting from keeping it mental to putting it out. And then your body is okay, here we go. Now we're in deed mode. Okay. So I just wanted to offer that just as a quick, little pick you up, because so often we feel like the things that we desire are so far out of reach, right? That they seem impossible, that they seem too big to be true. But, this really is a time where anything is possible, and it's time to dream big, because we've gotten pretty used to working with life as it is, right? Saying well, these are the different options for work or for jobs or for a lifestyle, but it's not true anymore. More and more people are finding different ways to live, to exist, to make a living, all these things. So, but it doesn't come into existence unless you think of it first. You, who's ever listening, might be somebody, an innovator who comes up with a totally new creation, a totally new idea. It will first come into your mind. You will think it first. And then if you want to continue the creation process, if you want to bring it into form, visualize it, have that thought, and then bring it into a bigger vision of this is what it's going to look like. This is what it's going to feel like. This is what it's going to be. See yourself doing what you want to be doing to inspire others, to offer your gifts to the world. See that home, that dream home. See the animals you want to have out in your yard. See that husband there with you. Children, whatever it might be, visualize it, visualize it, visualize it. And again, it can be in meditation. It can be when you're out walking. It can be when you're, getting that energy up, getting your heart rate up through a workout, and you're just feeling the endorphins and you're like, yes, I can do this. I want this. And you see yourself doing, having, being. That's how it's brought into form. It can expedite the process. And visualization is also powerful because it helps you to clarify what it is you want. Right? There's a quote that says, I'm going to butcher it, but it's something like, those who refuse to settle for less are usually those who get what they want, or maybe it's the reverse. So it's kind of the idea of when you know that you want something and you're not going to settle for anything less, you're most likely to get it. So visualize it, see it, and say, no, this is what I want, nothing less. If you listen to some of my episodes on finding a partner, dating, in my Identify and Heal episodes, it's so important to establish what you're looking for, because then you can begin to draw that in. You can also be able to begin to say no to anything that's not that. And I'm not saying that if you have like a visualization in your head of the perfect house, and then you find a house, but it has like, a different size garage, you're like, oh man, I'm waiting for the real deal. You can, but it might not be spot on, but it's going to be really close, right? Talk to anybody who says that they started visualizing their partner and then met them, or wrote down all the aspects that they wanted a partner, speaking, and then found them. But it was like one thing might've been off, right? Like just one little thing, right? There's a beautiful book of an author I'm going to have on soon called, I think it's Wise Little Ones by Jana Wilson. And she talks about how she made a list of her partner, of every attribute she wants, and she met him and he was 1 year off of the age difference that she was looking for. So you might get something a little bit off, but the more that you set your intention in your mind, then begin to speak of it when you're ready, right? Sometimes our visions are sacred and we say, I'm not yet ready to share this with the world. But when we feel more concrete and comfortable and confident in it, then we begin to speak it. I'm going to speak in front of 10,000 people. Speak it out into the world. Eventually you have to, if you want it to come into action, to be in form. Okay, I hope that was helpful. And now I'm going to pull a Archangel Oracle card for you to see, oh, this one flew right out, to see what message wants to come. And I'm going to use this one from the bottom of the deck because it's fun and it's related to what we are talking about. Ooh, perfect. So this says, ooh, this is kind of related. Okay, so this is the Archangel Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue. And the first card is Divine Order, which kind of makes me think of what I was speaking to, right? I feel like the angels are like, yeah, it's called, divine order of creation. Thought, word, deed. Thinking is the laboratory of where we start playing with and exploring and thinking, ooh, wouldn't this be cool if this existed? Okay, this card says Divine Order, which is associated with Archangel Raguel or Raguel. Everything is how it needs to be right now. Look past the illusion and see underlying order. I love that. How beautiful that. What inspiration to say, if you're in the visualization stage, hard word to say, it can get a little frustrating, right? You're like, I've been thinking about this for so long. I've been wanting this. I want it to be here now. And this is saying, look past the illusion and see the underlying order. We want it right now. We say, I should be doing this, having this, experiencing this right now. Trust that it's a process. It's the divine process of creation, the divine order. Use that sacred time of being in visioning and visualizing what you want. And trust that with patience, it will work its way through when you're ready to speak to it, and then when you're ready to actually have it and experience it. And then the final card, for those of you who were keen on me talking about a soulmate, as many of us are, if you haven't met one yet, we got the beloved one, Archangel Chamuel. I'm helping you with your spiritual soulmate relationship. I feel like this is her saying, like, I got you. Do the visualization. You do your part. I'm doing mine. This archangel is coming in and is going to help you with your spiritual soulmate. Once you've set your intention, once you've worked and spent time in your visualization, once you've spoken, which is the same as writing out what you want, this lovely archangel, Chamuel, is going to help you with getting your spiritual soulmate. All right, everybody, I hope that was helpful. Best wishes to you all on your visualization journeys. I can't wait to see what comes into creation. Just really think about it. Think of 50 years from now, there's going to be things that did not exist because people first had an idea about it. And it could, I mean, we're all doing it, but it could be you in terms of something that changes the world, really impacts a lot of people or inspires people. Think outside the box. That's also what I want to offer as a closing note. When you're doing your visualizations, let go of any limitations. It's a visualization because it's in the energetic realms. It's not in the physical yet. So it doesn't have these laws of physicality that we have on earth. It has infinite potential. Everything is always evolving. So what we think is possible is limited to what we see in front of us. But what we see in front of us is only here because we first thought it and then believed in it enough to bring it forth. So anything is possible is the truth. So don't have any boundaries. Think big, right? Have big dreams. Don't have any constraints. Anything that you visualize and you're like, that's crazy. People would tell me I'm crazy. Do it anyways. That's even a greater impetus to do it. Almost anyone who's created anything, especially some of the most transformative, revolutionary things, were first told that they were crazy to have that idea. But the boldest and the most determined of them all, who got this idea and it became this life force that had to be expressed through them, they made it. They did it. Okay, everybody, have a beautiful day. Thanks for listening. Take care.